Alright, so now we're going to talk about arrays. And arrays in C# are a fixed set of something. It's whatever type you specify, including class. So let's go ahead and create some arrays. This is an array of chars. It's going to be vowels. And so with arrays, you can directly, once you spell it right, you always start at axis 0. So it goes 0 through 4 are your indexes in order to get the values. And then you just go in here, and then we're just going to go through each A, E, I, O, U. So that is all the vowels. And so basically the thing is in comp sci, you're going to always start counting at 0. And this is especially apparent when you're accessing and creating arrays. So as you can see, we're starting here at 0, and then we go up to 4. Now we created 5 slots, but since we started at 0, it's going to be whatever this number is minus 1, and that will be your last index. And if we wanted to go through this array, we could start an int, which we've already seen before. I is less than vowels dot length. And then we can increment I, again using that increment operator, which we saw a couple episodes ago. And then we can do a console.writeLine. And then we can print out vowels at the ith position. So this will go starting at index 0 up to the length minus 1 because it's less than, not less than or equal to. We'd get an error if we put less than or equal to, because again, it would go up to 5, but 5 does not exist in here, so it would throw an error. So we're going to remove that. And this will actually print out all the vowels that we just created. And we'll do a read key so that way we can see our results. And we'll start it up. And then we can see on each line A, E, I, O, U in the same order that we created. And if we want to go backwards, all we have to do is set vowels.length equal to our beginning. And then we say I is going to be greater than 0. And in this case, we would want to say I is greater than or equal to, because our last index is 0. And when we're saying int I equals vowels.length, we actually want to do this minus 1, so that way we don't get an error. And then we'll want to decrement I each time we loop through. And so with those changes, we print out our array backwards. Just a neat little thing that you can do. For loops are very flexible and extendable. And we actually do not have to go through this whole process of each line saying, okay, here's what we want in here. We can just say we want a new char array. And we want A, E, I, O, and U. We'll get rid of this. And so now on the same line that we're actually creating this vowels array, we can initialize it too. And it's going to be fixed to the same size, but it's just a little shorthand. And we actually don't even have to say new char array. We can just set it equal to this, which is nice. Very simple way to create an array, and again, if we loop through this backwards, it's still the exact same thing. So arrays can get a little bit wonky too, and you can actually create multi-dimensional arrays. So that means that there can be arrays inside of arrays. So 2D array is going to be equal to new int and then 2, 2. And so what this is two-dimensional array. And so this can be used, just making something up, this could be used for a point. So you have an x and y coordinate, right? So this allows you to create multiple points within an array that can be held together. So basically, we can also do a more verbose way of creating this array. This is just to help show, visualize what it would look like. Again, we can do a new int. Then we can use these curly braces again. And then within, we're doing another curly brace because these are arrays. And so this is the exact same thing, except that I actually put in values. So you can just imagine these as two different points, right? But that way we have these points inside an array together. And so as I was alluding to earlier with that for loop, we'll actually get a runtime error if we try to access a value that is outside of the array. So really quickly, I want to go back and create just a regular int array again, and just have one number in here, a 3, just so this is simple. So if I were to do a console.writeLine, and I try to access R2, 23, sure. I just want to show the error that we'd get. So we get a system index out of range exception. So eventually, when you start writing software, you have to catch these sort of errors. So you actually need to know, like, okay, well, if I try to access an array position that doesn't exist, what's the error that is going to be given? So with this particular example, when you're accessing out of range for an array, you get a system.index out of range exception. So it's just important to know how to find those errors, and just you'll need to know how to catch those errors in the future for error handling. And that's it for arrays. Thanks for watching.